Well, you've got journalists and yes campaigners saying, oh, racism, we found another racism scandal in the No campaign against Labor's plan for the Voice. It's planned to divide us by race in the Constitution. I actually thought the Voice was the racist thing in all this, but anyway. But no, we're told by the Yes camp that what's racist is this, a speech on the weekend by Gary Johns, a former federal Labor minister and now a leader of the No campaign.
As Dave Price, Jacinta's dad, has said to me often enough, if you want a voice, learn English. That's your voice. And yet we have conspired through all sorts of means to keep Aboriginal people out on collective title, outside the economy, being Aboriginal. And I need to tell you that being Aboriginal is not enough. It's not your life. If you sit there outside the economy and playing out the role of an Aboriginal person, you will die young.
The Prime Minister today said he was offended.
Well, I'm concerned about a whole range of comments that Gary Johns has made, not just on the weekend but over a long period of time, when it comes to a failure to show any respect for Indigenous Australians. The fact that he's been given a significant role in the No campaign is of concern.
And then came the usual pile-on that we specialise in Australia. Former New South Wales Liberal Treasurer Matt Keane was also furious, accusing Gary Johns of treating fellow No campaigners Jacinta and Warren with complete disrespect, deliberately making revolting statements, knowing that Jacinta and Warren left to clean up his mess, and accusing Johns of cowardice. Cowardice? Gary Johns is quite happy to front up tonight and explain himself. Gary Johns, thank you for your time. You're accused of cowardice, racism and disrespect to Aboriginal people. Do you plead guilty?
No, I don't. No surprise there, Andrew. Look, I don't even know what the disrespect thing means. I'm making the point that Noel Pearson, Marcia Langton, Warren Mundine, Jacinta Price all speak, read and write English, and that is a key to their success. But there are Aboriginal children today who cannot do that, and yet their grandparents can. What's happened in the last generation or two, such that some Aboriginal children, mainly in remote, very remote communities, cannot speak sufficiently well English or read it or write it. And if you can't do that, you're literally locked out of the good life. Why would the Prime Minister say that I'm disrespecting them? See, the left are very good at closing down debate. The Yes case are very good at closing down debate. The Yes case does not want to answer the simple question, why can't some Aboriginal children read, write and speak English? Why can't they integrate into our open society just as Noel Pearson has, just as Marcia Langton has, just as Jacinta and Warren have?
Yes, I do recall reading at the time that the film Yolngu Boy, that's set up in Yunupingu country in Arnhem Land, they cast three boys. One apparently was the son of a teacher, if not the headmaster. I don't want to be sure about that. Got the roles, and they needed remedial English to actually say their lines. Remedial English language lessons to say their lines. It's just, it really is bad. They've got this dual language teaching in many of those schools now. Apparently it's better for their education, but it leads to the results you say. Now, I'm trying now to be fair to the critics, because they weren't specific, what it was that you said that they would have interpreted as offensive. And I think I'm guessing that it is you saying that to be Aboriginal and just sit around, that somehow being Aboriginal sitting around is going to make them die younger, that they can't be authentically Aboriginal and prosper or something like that. Can you explain that point?
Yeah, it's not sufficient to just be an identity, you know. I have a Cornish or an English or a Scottish or an Irish background. We can all have an identity it doesn't pay the rent. We can all have an identity. It doesn't get you through school. What did our parents tell us? That you had to study and work hard and create your own world. Whereas what the intellectual elites are saying to poor Aboriginal people in particular living in remotes is that it's okay, you can just stay there. You can live a previous life that we believe that you should be living. And if they were living harmoniously and well, we wouldn't mind, but they're not. They're dying young. They're leading awful lives by and large, and it's because we haven't reminded them that they need that basic infrastructure, the intellectual infrastructure that says, kid, you got to go to school. You have to make this personal investment, or otherwise you're not going to make it in Australia. So I'm very upset at the Yes case and our dear Prime Minister, who think that they can just close down this debate and somehow solve the problems that this Aboriginal industry, have caused. In 2 generations, Aboriginal children have lost the capacity to participate in the open society.